episode of Talking Shaymen. I am joined by Bromley fan Eddie to preview our game against Bromley this Saturday. Eddie, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing not too bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah. I'm good, thank you. I'm really excited for this upcoming game. Obviously, both sides are having a terrific season, aren't they, so far? Both sides probably exceeding expectations. I don't think either sides were really expected to be doing as well as what we are doing, especially with us both being in playoff spots. What's your summary then of Bromley's season so far?
Well, I'll tell you what, we started off a little slow and a bit nervous defensively, which was really a knock-on from last season. You know, it's one of the frailties at Bromley last season was that we always worried a little bit about the defence. They were sort of in and out, and as you recall, we made it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And but we fell at the first fence with losing 3-1 up at Hartlepool and conceded 3 goals in a 10-minute spell there, which really epitomised our season. Because I think most Bromley fans didn't think we'd make it through the playoffs. It was a bit of
just
a stretch too far for us, and that was shown up in that game in particular. And the first few games of this season, we looked a little bit ragged defensively, although the results weren't too bad. But to be fair, the managers did the job, and they got us looking really solid now. I've got to say, we really look a team that's going to be hard to beat this season.
Yeah. So what are your expectations for the end of the season then? Obviously, Bromley, like ourselves, are not really expected to be in the playoffs by other clubs at the start of the season. Halifax, my point of view, I wanted us to make playoffs, nothing else. Playoffs would do finally for me. I'm sure that's probably the same around the Bromley camp, but a lot of people expect us to be mid-table around that sort of point. What are your expectations for the end of the season? Would it be to make the playoffs or even a title charge?
Well, I'll tell you what, we had a new chairman buy into the club 5 years ago, Robin Stanton-Gleaves.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the fans forum we had that night, it's coming on to 6 years ago now. And he said he's got a 5-year plan to get Bromley into the Football League.
Mm-hmm.
And last season was the 5th year, and we got into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so you can't knock him. He's put his money into the club. He's built a big new stand at the end of behind one goal. Redeveloped the main stand, and chairmen always get criticised, don't they? And a lot of the old Bromley fans are a little uncomfortable with it. It has to be said. We're a non-league team. We're an amateur team.
Yeah.
And people like me, I mean, I'm going to sound a little prehistoric now, but I saw my first Bromley game in 1964.
Yeah.
And I doubt your parents were even born at that time.
No.
So it's a long time ago. And we were very amateur. I was going to Bromley watching, in crowds of 150, 200 on a rainy Tuesday, Wednesday night, or whatever. And we've come on a bundle, really. And this chairman has poured his money in. And last year, getting into the playoffs was a bit of a bonus for us. But it's raised the expectations. I've got to say that the way that Bromley are playing at the moment, I know the last few games they haven't been playing that well, but they've been carving out the results. They've been getting these little 1-0, 2-1 results, and without playing particularly well. But there we are. If you look at Bromley's progress this season, I don't think there's been any time that we've been outside the top 5 or 6.
No.
And so my expectations are definitely that Bromley will be in the playoffs at the end of this season. But whether we've got that in us to get that one promotion spot, I don't think we've got that extra little bit of quality that the big teams have. I mean, Bromley are still we're a little fish in a big pond, and we're fighting. We're on attendances. We average about maybe 2,000. You know, we had a big crowd last Saturday at home to Notts County, 3,600.
Yeah.
But we're very much still that little team, little fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at the table here, and we've got Stockport, and we've got Chesterfield, we got yourselves, Halifax.
Yeah.
You know, then there's Bromley and Boreham Wood, of course, another small team, but they've been there and thereabouts the last season or two.
Yeah.
And then you come to Wrexham, you know, you're looking at really big teams. It's like if you look at the National League now, it's like a little microcosm of the Premier League. You've got 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe big hitters, teams that have been in and around the Football League before, and then you've got teams like Bromley that have always been and Boreham Wood, you know, always been sort of amateur teams. So it's you know, it's quite surreal being a Bromley fan these days, but our expectations, certainly looking at the way the team are playing, is that we will be in the playoffs, and that we will be the team that none of the others are going to want to play, because we're really going to be really hard to beat. We've built up a solid defence. You know, we've got 3 big centre halves, back three, and you know, Byron Webster, who's the ex-Millwall player, and they brought in Omar Suwamni earlier at the start of the season. He's been massive for us, and obviously Chris Bush as well. So you know, we're looking really solid defensively, and I don't think a lot of teams are going to relish playing Bromley if we get into the playoffs, which is what I'm expecting we're going to do. Yeah,
and I'm sure that's what all the fans obviously at Bromley want. They've obviously come a long way, haven't they, since obviously, like you said, about 5 years ago under the new ownership. They're on the up, aren't they, Bromley now? It looks like they're going to hopefully get to the Football League in the near future, even if it's not this season. Like ourselves, we want to get back to the EFL where we feel that we belong. And with two sides that probably at this moment in time are expected, like you've got the likes of Wrexham, Stockport, splashing out all the cash. And we're competing with them, and this is what I think is great to see. I always like the smaller sides in the division based on budget to competing in a way in them playoff spots so far this season. So yeah, it's going to be a really exciting game. Andy Woodman has been very well organised, hasn't he, this season?
Yeah, there's mixed feelings about Andy Woodman. Obviously, you know, the speculation recently about, you know, his links with Gillingham, but also there was some kind of tenuous rumours earlier in the season when the Hartlepool job came up.
Yeah,
and those rumours were doing the rounds in the Bromley Forum, but you know, it was both Hartlepool and Bromley denied that there was any direct contact, but you know, rumours are rumours. But definitely this time, you know, Gillingham made an approach. Woodman was given permission to speak to them. My understanding is, again, these are based on rumours that you hear in and around the club. My understanding is that they had actually agreed terms. But of course, Andy Woodman, I'm not sure what his contract is at Bromley, but we assume he's under contract to at least the end of the season. And, you know, Paul Scally at Gillingham, he's one of the meanest chairmen of mean, aren't they? But he's one of the meanest chairmen around. And my understanding is that Andy Woodman may have agreed terms with Gillingham, but the sticky point was the compensation package. That I mean, if Bromley's chairman is one thing, he's a tough negotiator, and we suspect that he wanted a lot more than Paul Scally was going to dig out, to be honest. And we had a week or so of rumours and speculation. You know what fans do around the forums on the social media. And it took him a little bit longer than it should have done, I think, Andy Woodman, to come out and pledge at least his immediate future to Bromley, which he has done now, to be fair. And, you know, at the end of the day, the guy, you know, if he gets an approach from a Football League club, you can't blame people. It is. I mean, Gillingham, they're a bit of a poison chalice, aren't they, Gillingham at the moment? But
we don't particularly like them. We don't have many fond memories going to Gillingham. They got as well. They more or less got us relegated from the EFL. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I was being as you say, a Millwall fan as well.
Yeah.
I was really shocked, actually. I've been telling all my mates there's no way Neil Harris is going to take that job, but but he has done, and it's probably a good job for him. And but at the end of the day, like I say, Andy Woodman. There's a few Bromley fans thinking that he should have pledged his future a little earlier to Bromley, but he's done that now, and he'll do his talking on the pitch, which he's doing. And Bromley are carving out results. We're not playing terribly well at the moment.
Yeah.
But there we are. Where are we? Fourth, just behind yourselves.
Yeah. Obviously, you've got a game in hand. A win against us. If you defeat us, it'll put you in a great position, won't it? If you defeated us, but it's funny how. Sorry, it's funny how the table can just change, isn't it? After weeks, like at one point we were top of the league, thinking, "Are we actually going to win the league?" And then we have 2 bad results, and now we're just hoping to try stay well in the playoffs and stop pot. Before Challenger came in, they were looking like they weren't even going to make the playoffs, and look at them now. It's great to see obviously how the league can just obviously change. But going back to this Woodman situation, do you think this will have a negative effect or a positive effect coming into Saturday's game? Like, obviously, a few fans.
No, I think that's done and dusted. We had I think we had the official explanation. Woodman came out and pledged his future to Bromley earlier in the week or last week, and that's, we can criticise people, but that's good enough for me. He's pledged his future. He's doing his job on the pitch, and when you talk about those teams at the top there, it's so close, isn't it? There's 5 teams within a couple of points, and I've got this. I just think that goal difference could play a big factor this year. The way things are shaping up. I mean, Stockport, obviously they had a massive result, didn't they, on Saturday away to Barnet, and we can't be quite sure what Chesterfield are going to do with the managerial situation there. That may unsettle them. And Halifax, your form's been a little bit
mixed bag.
It has recently.
I'd like to express that by saying that obviously we've had a very key injury with Kieran Green, and I don't think people really recognise how good he is. I think other sides you'll probably have heard like the Billy Waters, the Jordan Slews, but Kieran Green, as soon as he gets injured, we're stuffed, and that's what showed. But obviously going to Dagenham, it was great to see that we actually got a result there and played extremely well, and it shows a good side, Justin.
Yeah, you had a good result, didn't you? And but I mean, Bromley now, we've got 5 wins on the spin, and you can't knock it at the end of the day. I mean, we've not been playing well. We've been carving out results. The only frustrating thing is that we're not kind of. I know we'll come on to Michael Cheek in a minute, but we're not really scoring enough goals. We're getting a goal in front. And we come out and we press and we get a goal in front, and then we tend to drop back, and it's been quite frustrating sometimes watching them, because you think they've got the makings of this team. They can go out and they can just go and take them apart, but the recent games we've been getting our noses in front and just dropping back and defending, and we have been defending really well. Like I say, I mean, we're looking like a really strong unit defensively, but we're just that little bit short on the goals up front at the moment. That's the But I think that's going to sort itself. I'm quite optimistic about what Bromley's position at the moment.
Obviously, Michael Cheeky's been around, obviously, at Bromley for quite a number of seasons now, and he's always seems to be the man that stands out at Bromley. Do you think if he got injured, you'd struggle? Do you think that form would start to dip? Do you rely on him, do you think, heavily?
No, I think that we've got goals around the park. Michael Cheek, obviously, he's been around. Anyone who's supported the National League will know that Michael Cheek's been around for a good few years now. I mean, he's been at Bromley, 3 years, is it? I can't remember, 3 years. And before that, Ebbsfleet, Dagenham, Redbridge. And if you're going to finish near the top or at the top, you've got to have a 20-goal a season, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We all know that. I mean, that's just what you've got to have. And Michael Cheek is a 20-goal a season man. He's the talisman. He's last season I think he was he got Golden Boot, whatever the equivalent National League is for the goal. 21 goals I think he got last season. This season he's already got 16 in 27 games. So he's well on his way. And but so if you get an injury to a player like that, it's bound to affect you. But I do think that we've got a little bit of strength in depth. I mean, the last few, like I say, we are short of goals. But Jude Arthurs, he scored 3 and 3 now. Yeah. And the young fella up front, who one or two people have been unsure of, George Alexander. He was a young apprentice at Millwall, by the way. And if you want to know a bit about George Alexander, his dad is called Gary Alexander. I don't, you may not remember him, but if you go on YouTube and look at the greatest goal ever scored at Wembley, it was by Gary Alexander in a playoff final, Millwall against Scunthorpe a few years back, and that's George Alexander's dad. He's now currently helping to manage Cray Wanderers, who are another team that I like to go and watch. Cray Wanderers, obviously, they share the ground at Bromley. And this season, I've been doing a little bit of local ground hopping. I like the non-league scene, so we watch Cray Wanderers this Saturday, because my days of long haul travelling around the country, I'm a bit too old for that. But I still get around every now and then. But this Saturday, I will probably be listening to the Halifax Bromley game on the Bromley commentary, but I'll be sitting in the stand at Hayes Lane, probably watching Cray Wanderers. With a couple of my mates, having a beer, and so I love the non-league scene, and I've been before this season. I've been a season ticket holder at Bromley for about 15 years or so, and prior to that I was travelling up and down the country watching Millwall, which is a pretty painful experience. You're going to learn that one day. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying watching Bromley this season, because they look like they could go places,
Yeah, very interesting. Obviously, you think of Bromley and you rely on Michael Cheek. Well, you don't particularly rely on Michael Cheek, but there's other players, isn't there? Like, I'd like to talk a little bit about this Harry Forster, quite a youngster. I think he's come through the youth academy, hasn't he, for you? In the reverse fixture, in that 0-0 draw.
No. Oh, Harry Forster came from Watford, I think.
Watford.
If I'm not maybe I'm mistaken, but I think he came from Watford, didn't he?
He did actually. He went on loan to St Albion's, but
I thought so. Yeah, he's quite a tricky. I suppose you'd call him a wing back, really, in the system that we play. And he's good. Jude Arthurs, there's goals in him. Corey Whiteley, there's goals in him. Another, he plays over on the left side, I think. And so we've got the big man James Alabi, who's usually on the bench. He comes on as an impact sub, but I mean he would have goals in him if he got a start. But the manager obviously thinks that he's got the players that he wants to play, and but yeah, you're right. I mean, if Michael Cheek was to get injured, then we'd be again relying on the defence, which is very good.
Talking a bit about that reverse fixture, obviously a 0-0 draw. obviously there's that penalty incident with Michael Cheek I heard on the radio, and then obviously looked at highlights back. Overall, I personally feel that was probably a point of peace. Obviously, you probably have a better viewpoint. Obviously, you watching the game live, I suspect. But there's a lot of players for Bromley who obviously don't really get heard. Like, I remember someone who I particularly thought did well was that Omar Suwomyi, who obviously plays at the back for you. He were very, very strong in that game for you. And obviously, like Harry Forster.
Yeah, Omar Suwomyi. He came in at the start of the season. He's a man mountain, honestly. I mean, he's took a few games to get going, as you would expect, but like he's a big player for Bromley in the centre and in defence. And I mean, we've got three big men across the back, and we got Suwomyi, we got Webster, we got Chris Bush, obviously, and Bromley have. Also, you've got to watch out on Saturday for. We're pretty good on the dead ball situations, on the corners. All the big men have come up, and they are big men. And the other thing to look out for is Chris Bush has got a massive throw in his throw. Any throw in the last third of the pitch is. Chris Bush, it's as good as having a corner, really. I mean, he'll launch an extra set into the box, and so Bromley can mix it up. And the good thing about Andy Woodman is that he does that. Obviously he's got on the bench he's got Alan Dunn and Roger Johnson helping him. Alan Dunn again, and another Millwall connection, and Roger Johnson. He's been around the block a few times. So you'd expect us to be good defensively with two defensive coaches on the bench, but Woodman he'll mix it up, and when the game demands it, he'll change the setup and. But like I said earlier, we're a little bit frustrated that sometimes we get in front and we don't go for the kill. We sit back a bit too deep, and the defenders are throwing themselves on the line, and you wonder how long they can get away with that. But they have been getting away with it. So it's it's looking good, and if. Saturday it's a big game. For Bromley going to places like Halifax and Stockport and Chesterfield and Wrexham and Notts County. This is it's for us old timers who have been around a long time. It's just new territory for us. Do you know what I mean? I mean for you youngsters, it's this is a decent team. We're going up and all the rest of it. So it's exciting times, and on and off the pitch as well. Because obviously, I don't know if you've been down to Hayes Lane at all. Maybe
we're
not.
Considering going, but I don't want to be a bit disrespectful. But obviously, the away end not being covered, it sort of put us off a little bit.
I mean, there's differing views on that. I mean, some fans say, let the buggers get wet in the rain, but others say, look, put a cover on it. And I think the chairman did mention that at some point with the ground improvements, there may be a cover over that end. But I mean, it's not a pleasant place for away fans to come, but that's. I remember going to crumbling grounds in the 60s and 70s. So, you young chaps, you've got to. It's luxury for you nowadays, I tell you.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot of sides have injury crises, especially the smaller side in the division. Like I know we don't have particularly too much depth compared to your Stockports and your Wrexhams. Have this season Bromley had any injury crises that have sort of cost them in some sort of way?
I don't think so. No, not to the best of my knowledge. Just little niggles here and there.
Yeah.
I think Billy Bingham was out for a few
Yeah.
games, and maybe one or two others, just the odd games. But I don't think we've suffered for any long-term injuries,
Mm-hmm.
to the best of my memory. Anyway, I mean, I may be wrong, but
something else I wanted to ask you as well. Obviously, you follow Millwall as well as Bromley. Obviously, this is a question that spurns around quite a lot. Obviously, the Championship and the National League, two divisions that are extremely hard to get out of. In your point of view, which league would you say is harder to get out of?
Oh well, you've got to say the National League, because there's only at the moment there's just the one automatic promotion spot, and surely I was talking to a few friends the other day actually about this, and surely that's going to have to change, because you look at the National League now, and it's not a part-time league. It's not a part-time league anymore. It's like it should be really an extension of the Football League, and my opinion is that you should have 3 up, 3 down, and two automatics, one through the playoffs. And so then, if you're asking me, then obviously the National League is the hardest to get out of. I mean, just ask Wrexham fans, and they'll tell you. And I'm thinking a little bit about Forest Green Rovers, if comparing them with Bromley, that their chairman was piling money in, wasn't he, for a long time, and eventually they escaped and got up, and so it's a tough job getting out of that National League. When you look at the teams that are there, we've said them already, but Sutton managed it last season. But I think last season, if there was going to be an exceptional season, then with the COVID and the no fans and all that, then probably last season was the season when a sort of an amateur non-league team were going to do it, and to be fair, Sutton have done very well in League Two, haven't they, this year?
Yeah, we've had people on before, obviously, and they've said as soon as you get out of the National League, you can basically glide through the leagues in some sort of way. Obviously, look at Cambridge, even Luton. Obviously, they probably feel they were too big for the National League and too big for non-league, but they're in the Championship now. So if either side got promoted, you probably couldn't see us coming straight back down, unless we obviously just mess it up totally.
No, it's a tough old business, isn't it? I mean, you say the Championship. I mean, that's hard to get out of as well. Obviously, you've got Premier League teams coming down with how much, 100 million, whatever, how many in parachute payments, and it kind of it kinks the whole thing, really. For talk about Millwall. I mean, Millwall are punching above their weight, even halfway in that table with the crowds they get, and anyway. So and Bromley are kind of similar, really. I mean, I don't know what's Halifax's average crowd this season.
It's been a bit inconsistent. Like 1 week we could be getting a decent crowd, but compared probably to what we were getting before COVID, it's dipped a little bit, even though we're doing extremely well in the league. Probably averagely about 2,300 average this season.
Is that all? I thought it'd be more than that. I mean,
might be a little bit. It's been quite low because it's improved as the season's gone on. But obviously with COVID, it's put a lot of fans off. We didn't really sell too many season tickets at the start of the season compared to what we are doing, and people really are really prepared to pay £21 every single Saturday. So crowds do differ, but hopefully we can get over probably about 2,200, 300 in for this game against Bromley.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that. I thought it was more than that. I mean, you look at, I think Wrexham are getting 7,000-8,000, are they, sometimes? So, and Bromley, like I said earlier, they Saturday just gone home to Notts County. We had 3,600 there, but 700 from Nottingham. Notts County, to be fair, they brought down a really good crowd. So I think Bromley's average is somewhere around about 2,000 probably, but on the back of that big crowd last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously both sides crowds do differ week in, week out. Like that was quite. I want to talk a bit about that because I think Bromley deserve a bit of respect for that crowd. 3,600, obviously 700 from Nottingham. Quite a good achievement from your point of view.
Yeah, I mean it's something that I'm never quite sure how many pay to get in because we have the kids go free. Like I think you do as well, and we've got season ticket holders and all that. So I think they count the season ticket holders whether they turn up or not. So you're not quite sure, but definitely there was a big crowd at Bromley last week, and I mean Bromley is a big catchment area. When you look at the borough of Bromley, it's obviously we've got Crystal Palace nearby, and we've got Charlton, and we've got Millwall. And Saturday, obviously, we didn't have any. The Premier League wasn't on Saturday, so there's a fair few Crystal Palace fans come down to Bromley. I know a few. I think there's a few Charlton fans come, and a few Millwall fans come, but Bromley is a big catchment area, and there's there's potential there to get up into the regularly into 3,000s. I mean, I think the capacity at Bromley is probably 4,500, 5,000. The safety limit, I think, with the new stand and all that. So, I mean, who knows where we're going to end up?
Yeah, I went to Dagenham on Saturday, and there were a lot of West Ham fans I saw around who obviously went to watch Dagenham. It's something that's been introduced in it quite regularly now. Obviously, Halifax have obviously started doing it where Premier League side, League 2 and above sides, if you bring your season ticket, you can get a discount to £10. I think it's something that's good in promoting non-league in general because this season I feel it's growing non-league. The fans are growing. I think there's more people, probably like yourself in a way, who are starting to enjoy non-league a little bit more than the Football League. Obviously, there's been a lot of protests with the EFL, etc. Obviously, you come into the obviously Bromley come into the Shay. How do you think they'll approach this game then? Do you think they'll come into the game going for the 3 points, or do you think it'll be quite a defensive display and trying to play on the break and trying to break the play up a little bit?
No, I think Andy Woodman goes into every game wanting to win it, to be honest, and it's quite refreshing that he does that. I mean, of course, it doesn't always work out that way. It depends how you come out, but I think Bromley will go into that game with some, obviously on the back of 5 wins on the trot. With some a fair bit of confidence and knowing that Halifax have been a little bit inconsistent as well. You never quite can be sure. I mean, if Halifax come out on the front foot, then Bromley will sit back. And the trouble is, when Bromley start to sit back, we kind of sit back for good. You know what I mean? But no, I think Bromley will. We go there and we're going to try and win, and I'll be surprised if we don't come back with some sort of result. To be honest, because we really are looking solid, and it may be the odd goal, but I'd like to think that if you ask me now, I'd settle for a draw.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an extremely tight game, in my opinion. I'm quite confident coming into this game, to be honest. I think off the back of that Dagenham result and how well we played, we've made a few new signings. We've brought in the likes of this Thomas. I think he's come from Preston. Aaron Martin's fitting into the side perfectly. Deanley's obviously signed from Oldham. I'm very confident going into this game. I'm going to be surprised by how this game obviously goes to plan. Like, I personally feel that the first goal is going to be crucial in this game.
Yeah, well, the first goal is always important, isn't it? Yeah. And but I think Bromley will also go into it with a degree of confidence. Obviously on the back of five wins on the spin, you know, and beating teams. I mean, last couple of games, 2-1 win at Grimsby, you know, and 1-0 at home to Notts County. You know, we're beating big teams. Some great results, and you know, you never know. I mean, it's a funny old game, as they say. So let's just hope it's a. I expect it to be a very good game. I expect it to be tight, like the game earlier in the season was. But I'd like to see that Bromley will start to get a few goals, and you know, if you're going to ask me for a prediction later on, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you for a prediction. I've got a prediction in mind, but the thing is, I can't go with it because for the past couple of games, I've been saying that every single game, and it's probably the most obvious.
You're going to jinx it. You're going to jinx it.
You've got to change it up a little bit. I'm going to just head over to the chat now and see what a few people are saying. So Freddie Eastwood, I think it's going to be 2-1, Waters and Martin. Now, there was actually 2-1 between the two sides a couple of seasons ago. I don't know if you made the journey up. It was a crucial game because both sides were doing extremely well in the league. I think we were top of the league, I believe, and Bromley were second. Bromley fell short, and we managed to sustain a place in the playoffs. Obviously, COVID came and etc. I remember that game where Devante Rodney scored, and Bromley went down to 10 men, and they pulled one back, and they were very nervous for the final 20 minutes or so. We've also got another one. I think this is from a Bromley fan. Good luck for Saturday. Going to be our hardest game of the season. I'm going to go for a draw. Obviously, you said you would take a draw. I think a lot of Bromley fans would. Yeah, I think a lot of Bromley fans would obviously take a draw. Like I posted on your forum, I posted this on, and a lot of fans were saying this is going to be an extremely hard game for us, and we'll probably take a draw. But you know, both sides are coming in on relatively good form. Obviously, we've been slightly inconsistent, but I feel we'll be confident going into this game, especially with the new additions to the squad. Bromley, however, I think they've won the last 5 games, which is very impressive. It's going to be a very interesting game for me personally.
It is going to. Unfortunately, I can't. Like I said earlier, my kind of. I still get to away games every now and then, but I'll leave the hardcore fans to do these long trips now, and. But in fact, I shall probably be sitting in the stand at Hayes Lane watching Cray Wanderers. Yeah. But I'll have my earphones in, listening to the Bromley commentary on it, and let's just hope it's a good game. And like I say, I think most of us as Bromley fans will settle for a point. We've had 5 wins on the trot, and. You know, we're so long as we're there or thereabouts towards the end of the season. Yeah. Which I think, I'm sure we're going to be honest.
One more is just coming. Very tough game for us Bromley fans this weekend. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Obviously, Bromley, following wise, what is like your best following, do you think, away from home? Where do you probably take the most? Would it be like Dagenham?
No, you know, that's across the water. I mean, we get a reasonable crowd there. I mean, obviously, Sutton were our big rivals, but they've gone up now. We'd take a few hundred there. We've got a game coming up in the FA Trophy at Tunbridge Angels, which is just down the A21 from us, and I'm not sure. We might take 300, 400. But you know, remember we're still a little fish in this league, and you know we're not taking hundreds and hundreds to away games, and Halifax is a lot. If you know, we for these long haul away games up north, we tend to have the same hardcore. You know, I've got a great admiration for the fans who go to these games. I really have, because it's you see their faces around Hayes Lane. You know who's going to be. You know who's going to be up there, and it's I guess there'll be the usual 75, 80 up at Halifax on Saturday. You know, I've got to say again, credit to the chairman this season. He's been laying on coaches for all these away games, and the fans do have to pay, but there's no doubt that he subsidises them to a fair extent. So we'll have a coach coming up, probably just the one, and then there's the hardcore fans who always like the culture of going up on the train and having a few beers, and then those that drive. So usually for these sort of away games, you find there's about 75, 80 maybe. And for the local games, a couple of seasons ago, I think we took about 450 up to Leighton Orient. That was a special occasion for us. Where are we? I suppose our local game is, I don't know. Where are we?
There's a lot of. I think any away following in this league, like I personally feel that the fans, obviously, who don't take hundreds and hundreds, it shows more because they know they're not exactly going to go to a game where it's going to be, the atmosphere is going to be bouncing. I think it should be appreciated. I think someone's coming in the chat and said they're going, and fair play to you. You've also said I'm happy to meet a few fans for a beer or two. If you did want to find a pub or somewhere, I'd either go to the Peace Hall. I'd go to, there's one in Halifax, what's it called now? Courtyard Pub or the Shears, if you wanted to ask that question. I think I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this game against Bromley.
Yeah, can I just say that those 75 or 80 Bromley fans coming up, they will make a hell of a lot of noise. I can promise you that, because they always do. I mean, they Bromley have got a great away following. It may not be as large as some, but they'll make themselves known. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. He's come back again. Predict between 50 to 100 Bromley fans. We took 96 to Grimsby the other week. Lot of respect for Halifax after home match. No one wanted to lose that one. Yeah, no one did want to lose that reverse fixture when it was 0-0. Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Anthony. I think any away following is good. And I have to give respect to Eastleigh, though. They came up and they brought, I think, 56 to us. And they still created a very good atmosphere. And I like that about away followings. I think it's a bit more appreciated, like when your Bromleys and your Eastleighs and your Boreham Woods, not putting you in the same category as Boreham Wood, but come up and take a decent following, and they still create an atmosphere. And I think you've got to, I appreciate that. Before we end the video...
I think Boreham Wood usually come down in a minibus, to be honest. But no, to be fair, any away fans that come to your ground, you've got to give them the respect they deserve, really, because some of them have to travel a long way. Good.
Before we end the video, what is your score prediction then for the game on Saturday?
Well, I'm going to be. I think it's going to be fairly tight. I'm usually tempted to think with Bromley at the moment a bit, short on goals. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to say it's going to be a cracking game, and it's going to be 2-2. I'm
going to go for a little unpredictable scoreline. I just have a feeling like I know Bromley will probably come and be quite it seems like the sort of extremely tight game. If there's an early goal, especially from our point of view, us being the home side, I think it will be very entertaining. I'm going to go for a 3-2 Halifax win, which I would take that, definitely, because I don't know about you, but I think the win for us would probably mean more in some sort of way, because if you win, you've created a gap, haven't you, between us. Obviously, you have also having a game in hand. To be honest, I think both sides it's a crucial game. I think it's a bit of a free hit for you in a way, where for us, we can't afford to lose. A draw would be okay, but we're probably trying to get all the 3 points.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, isn't it? I think all these games at the top are going to be tough now. We're past halfway. We're looking at the table. We're looking at points. We're looking at is there going to be one of those teams up there going to start pulling away a little bit? It's a couple of weeks ago you would have said Chesterfield, but again, maybe with a few uncertainties with the managers there. But and with Stockport, with that big win at Barnet on Saturday,
you
might think, well, maybe Stockport are going to start pulling away, opening up a gap. But I think the important thing is just to, if the likes of yourselves, Halifax and Bromley, keep it tight. Don't let anyone open up too much of the gap. Then maybe anything can happen. And like I said earlier, that I honestly think it's going to be, certainly for the playoff spaces, it's going to be very tight come the end of the season, and goals. We could be coming down to goal difference.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely tight.
Yeah, I'm tempted to think that maybe one of the, maybe Stockport, perhaps Chesterfield, but more likely looking at Stockport, maybe they're going to be pulling away and getting that one place. But there's Wrexham have been in good form recently.
Drew at Maidenhead. They drew at home to Maidenhead though. That's one thing.
Yeah, true. So and but it's the same. You look at that table. Solihull Moors were thereabouts last season, weren't they? And Wrexham. You got Notts County, of course.
Yeah.
Dagenham and Redbridge as well. So it's interesting times, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Dagenham, I think they're probably out of it, to be honest. I can't really see a side falling away in this top 7, like properly falling out of the playoffs, but it can just change in weeks if like injuries happen. Like we thought, I think after that Bournemouth defeat, I thought, oh no, we're not gonna be playoffs now. It's starting to fall away. Then I'm stupid enough to go to Dagenham, which is nearly a 4-hour journey, and I'm glad I did do it now because I really enjoyed that away day. And obviously we got 3 points, and now I'm thinking we can do anything this season. So it can just change within weeks. Like after that Grimsby game, especially, I thought we were going to win league, and it just changes gradually over a weekend even. But it
can. Yeah. I mean, you string around. Look at Bromley, five wins on the spin.
Yeah.
That includes the trophy game as well. But and who's to say Halifax won't get another 3-4 wins on the spin? Yeah. And all of a sudden you can open up a little bit of a gap there. And once you've got a gap, then you've got a little bit more confidence perhaps. And but. Yeah, let's see how it goes, and let's
hope for a good game. I think that more or less rounds it up then. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in tonight to watch today's podcast with Eddie. Eddie, I really appreciate you coming on. Obviously, Wednesday night, you've probably got a busy schedule. Thank you for coming on, and let's hope that good luck on Saturday, but not too much.
Yeah, and definitely the same to you, Luke.
Yeah, okay. Thank